And we are back with another episode of The Flagrant 2 with X and Lou. I am Lou, that is X. Hopefully, we don't run into any technical difficulties this time.
Hey! I can't control Mother Nature, man. You know how she get.
Oh man, okay. We're just gonna rip the band-aid off and let's talk about Brooklyn. Let's talk about it.
Of course.
Brooklyn wants an all-star and 3 first-round picks. At the very least, 3 first-round picks. He said multiple, but they want at the very least 3 first-round picks for Kevin Durant. And there hasn't been any full packages for Kyrie, but there's talks with Kyrie going to LA with LA asking for Seth Curry to be a part of that trade.
Bruh, it's the thing too. It's like her Durant say, I guess, Durant wants to play with certain people. You know what I mean? If I go to a team, I want to be in a team that's intact. But with a player like Durant, and then thinking about what just literally just happened a few days ago with Gobert, how much he pulled in for his trade value. Now you got a guy who actually brings your entire team up a whole notch, not just your defense, but your entire team up a whole
Yep.
notch. And you don't expect to get at least what they got for him. He got 4 draft picks. Brooklyn ain't asking for that. They said at least 3.
At the very
But
least, 3.
the thing about it is who's gonna have a crazy package like that where you get fair value between both teams without destroying the team somehow.
I think if that's the case, the team with the most draft capital, with the teams with the most draft capital, will be between the Knicks and OKC. I think OKC has the most attractive of it because of the fact that they have so many young assets that they can include in the trade. But the thing is, you're literally gonna gut your team to get KD and not have anything left to actually compete with because the West is still stacked. So you're asking for them to give up their youth as well as all the picks that they've acquired throughout the years of their tanking just to acquire KD, for KD not to even want to go there. I think KD has a no trade clause, or he has a clause in his contract where he could pick the destination if he is to be
Yeah.
traded. And then you look at the Knicks. One of the prime things that the Nets are asking for is an all-star. There isn't any all-stars on this team unless you want to include RJ Barrett, who was snubbed last year, in my opinion. But I mean, a lot of players was snubbed. I mean, it was a stacked all-star year for a lot of players. So a lot of players rightfully was snubbed of all-star appearances. But when you factor that in, I mean, I don't want KD alongside Randall. I think that it just wouldn't be a very good mesh. And then if you trade Randall, then you're gonna trade all your assets, and you're gonna have to give up some young guys. You might have to give up quickly Grimes. You're gonna have to give up guys that ultimately you want to move forward with in this in the Knicks rebuild, because we still have to look at the Knicks as a rebuilding team. That's what they are. And then on top of that, you get they just signed what's his face to this contract, to the 4-year contract.
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, they just signed Brunson. So
Yeah,
I mean,
are they really a rebuilding team? You just went so hard from Jalen Brunson, man. This is a playoff team we are talking about.
just because you're not just because you can contend and make it to the playoffs doesn't mean that you're not still I still think that the Knicks are in rebuild mode.
Nah, I'm just joking, but yeah, they
I mean,
definitely
still
are
rebuilding.
in the building factor. They
Even if it's not
definitely add
rebuild, yeah,
something.
they're still building.
Yeah,
They're still trying
yeah,
to
they're building.
get a culture.
Yeah, I think they had a little something, but it wasn't sustainable. It was they overachieved the year. Let's just say that.
Yeah, they did.
And I was just showing, but yeah, I don't know about the assets with the Knicks and even OKC being a destination for him at all, because at the end of the day, he want to be in a place where he could win.
Which would probably be between Phoenix and Golden State, or even if he goes to the Lakers.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I think out of I think Brooklyn is one of those teams right now, and we can see the reason why Durant and a guy like Kyrie want to be out of there. It's because I think, let's keep it funky. The front offices are now, dropping their balls.
Yeah.
And they're sitting here like, yeah, we need a certain package for this, a certain for that, and a third, so we could think about our future now. You guys want to be out of here. Y'all was our win now, but now y'all want to leave, and now we got to think about our win later, get us in the best situation. Because you gotta understand, Brooklyn just went from a team who rebuilt faster than expected after the KG and Paul Pierce and stuff, getting D'Angelo Russell, all of them going and creating a great culture over there to destroy all of that just to bring KD in. And now we're gonna get rid of him. So now you gotta get all of that talent back somehow. So now Brooklyn's at a point where it's like, yo, we gotta at least get back to where we were because we can't get further behind where we
Yep.
actually in a good place.
Yeah. And you look at it from another standpoint, it's any team. First of all, Brooklyn has all the leverage. They have every single ounce of leverage right now. And even though
Mhm.
this is a players' league, and for the past couple of years, the players have held leverage. This is not. This is not a high leverage for the players moment for them because of the fact that Brooklyn just gave KD the 4-year contract last year, the 4-year extension, which starts this year. Kyrie opted in. If anything, all the leverage has to go to Brooklyn because you look at it from a standpoint where, one, we don't have to trade you. Sit on the bench all you want. We'll find you. We don't have to pay you. We don't. You could play. God forbid you get injured, but I mean, we could literally go out onto the court with what we have.
Mhm.
That's it. And we don't have to do anything. Moving you is a luxury that we can afford you, but we don't have to afford you.
Yep.
So, from that standpoint, these options that KD want to have, I want to go to this team, or I want Phoenix, or I want Golden State, I want Los Angeles, whether it be Clippers or Lakers. I don't have to send you there. If the package is not lucrative for me, and I don't want to take on these expiring contracts, or I want better draft picks, unprotected, or whether it be or lottery protected, whatever it is, I don't have to send them to you. And that's where it comes down to. Brooklyn is in a flux right now, and it doesn't matter if their players are unhappy because they don't have to go anywhere. And I mean, you got Ben Simmons deactivating his account. If anything, I think he'll be the first one to get moved. If anything, he has less value than KD and Kyrie. And if they want to try to do something and bring in something to, get these guys to play on the court, at least for this year, Ben Simmons has to be the one that they move, not KD or Kyrie.
Hmm. But it's the thing about it is once KD and Kyrie made it in their mind that they want to leave, and just like you said, Ben Simmons is just that third wheel. Like, all right, it would have been great to have you, and
Mm-hmm.
you would have, picked up on our deficiencies on defensive side at least. It's just like he's basically a wash. Like I don't know what to do with him because now he's just literally in the way of certain trades that could actually happen for younger players.
Right.
So it's like you would have to move him, but it's just like, at the end of the day, man, listen, these boys have made their bed. The market isn't set for them right now, and they just need to lay in it. You made your bed, just lay in it. Like, just play your year out. Do what you got to do. Because I promise you, Kyrie go to the Lakers, it sound good, but
They
it
got to give up a
sound
lot to
good.
get him. Yeah, it sounds
Exactly. It
good.
sound good, but come on. And then, like, we got to think about it. If Kyrie gets that move and he really forces that move, you're forcing that move and putting Westbrook right back with KD. With KD left Westbrook, so now you're putting him in a position he don't want to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this all stems from Kyrie not playing. Period. This literally
Period.
stems from Kyrie not playing.
Start with Kyrie and then ending with Kyrie.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that you get rid of Kyrie, see what you could get back for him, and go into the season and play. First of all, KD has to prove that he can lead a team on his own. Period. He has to prove that. He's proved that he could score. He's proved that he could play defense at a high level. He has not proved that he can win a championship on his own. He just hasn't proved that. Curry was the main factor for those. Yeah, he earned his MVP, but it was Curry. It was the Golden State. It was everything that Golden State does there. Their culture that led them to the finals. All KD did was play tremendous defense on LeBron and hit big buckets. But who else was there? Curry. And who drew the majority of the defensive assignments, especially the double teams? It was Curry. Curry was the main focal. Why did KD leave? Because he didn't feel like it was his team. He felt like it was still Curry's, even though Curry took a backseat for KD, which is crazy to me. You have the most unselfish player in the world. The most unselfish point guard. Point guards are by nature they are selfish. They want the ball in their hands because they want to create the play. You have Chris Paul who is about was 86% of the 86% of the time he either has a direct impact or directly scores. So that means 86% of the time he either gets the assist or he's the scorer. 86% of the time. Point guards are selfish by nature. Curry is the most unselfish player in the world, the most unselfish point guard ever to play basketball. And you leave that to play with one of the most selfish players in the world. And that's Kyrie. Because if Kyrie wasn't selfish, he would have either got vaccinated or he would have done enough so that he could play games so that this team could have went far in the playoffs. Period.
And would have done enough to not get on Harden's bad side.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. Because I
That's
mean, if
another
it wasn't for
domino he
Kyrie,
dropped.
James would have went anywhere. James would have stayed. And
Yeah, I
I
think
think
we
they
can
was a
all
better
agree on
team
that.
with James than they are with Ben Simmons. If we want to be honest. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they got Seth Curry out of it. And I love Seth Curry. I think Seth Curry
Hmm.
is a terrific role player. But what's the point of having a role player that's gonna come off the bench and give you buckets or even start spot minutes for you if you don't have everybody else around you? You don't have Kyrie playing.
Yeah,
Ben Simmons is not
exactly.
playing.
And then with how the lineup is Steph Curry is small. He gets picked on defense. You got Patty
Mhm.
Mills out there who's going to get picked on defense. Like
Yep.
you have a real small guard lineup, so it's like having Curry is just more redundant of what can happen. And then both of these guys, who's your best shooters, get played off the floor. At least if you at least have one on the floor, but you can't do that. So it's like it's tough. They put them in a tough situation. But do you think they really move it like they expect these guys to play this year though? Because they just signed TJ Warren to a 1-year deal.
I mean, why not? I like TJ Warren. I do. I thought that he was terrific in a bubble, but I mean
The
injuries
bubble
have kept
god.
him off the court. So if he could play up to his potential pre-injuries, I mean he was injured these
Mhm.
past 2 years, but he played only 70 games between these two seasons. So when you look at it from that perspective, if he could stay on the court, he gives you viable defense and offense. He's a terrific two-way player. But I mean, you're gonna gut your team, KD, Kyrie, see what you could get back for him. I think the TJ Warren signing is a double-edged sword. It's
Yeah.
either really, really good because if you gut the team, at least you still have enough to try to compete because TJ Warren could give you that. He could
Mhm.
be a number one, or it gives you enough incentive for KD and Kyrie to at least finish this year because again, you don't have to trade them at all. So I mean, either way you look at it, I think it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, these guys just made their bet. I think they just need to play this year out and call it a day. Kyrie just, they'll figure out something in the middle of the season. maybe get his little, I don't know, get his trade value up or something. I don't know what they do with him, but they just made their bets. They need to play their games, do what they do, and just play on from here, bro. Because the market ain't out there for
It's
KD as
not.
far as what he wants to play with when this trade happens. It's
Yep.
like you got to gut your team for him, but then it's just like it's just a bad time for this for both of them.
Yeah, I mean the market is not where it needs to be right now as far as what contracts. I mean, look how many free agents are still available right now. You
Yeah,
know, there's marquee free agents still available. I mean, Aiton hasn't even been signed yet. The
yeah,
market is
that's a,
the market is still, free agency wise, there's still so many free agents out there. So if the market was really truly there, then it all of these free agents would have at the very least, what there's like I think 15 or 16 marquee free agents still out there, they would have all been signed at least. At the very least, half of them would have been signed. So you're looking at 8, maybe 9 of these players on a team right now, and that's not the case.
yeah. Who else? Yeah, because James Harden working his deal.
Yep.
James Harden actually being friendly to a team. You feel me? Like, how does that sound? Like, you think he could have did that in Brooklyn? But hey,
I think he
who
could have done it in
knows?
Brooklyn, but it's Kyrie,
I'm just
man.
saying, like, exactly.
Kyrie.
Kyrie just ain't get him to buy in because he want to be a douchebag. So it is what it is. But I don't know. It's not really. You say I don't know what other marquee free agents are there. There's only 8, and then the next person is like Colin Sexton.
I mean, but yeah, but you look at it from that perspective. I'm not talking about marquee. I'm talking about for this year. I'm talking about as far as free agent. Because if the market was there, you're looking at guys that would have been picked up already.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
market.
look,
That's what I'm saying. This year, the market really isn't there for it. No, it's not. I don't care what anybody say.
yeah. So a lot of these guys, they're either gonna be signing 1 year contracts, getting their value up for next year, or they looking at either the vet minimum. They're looking at somewhere in between 16 mil for 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's not. This is not the time. This wasn't the year. A
No.
lot of teams wasn't banking on this year. You look at the Knicks. The Knicks
Mm-mm.
signed these 2 and 3 year deals for 2023 and 2024. That's when the
Exactly.
free agency was supposed to be booming. They was gonna have more money. A lot of the free agents that was gonna hit,
Mm-hmm.
barring any extensions, a lot of these free agents were sitting 23, 24. The LeBron was sitting 23.
Yep.
So
And then that's would have been a good time for them to actually be able. KD would have had less time on his contract. There would
mhm,
have been a possibility of signing trades. Things like that. But this year, it's just not it, bro. Like y'all gotta let y'all emotions and feelings be what it is, bro, and just get off your high horse and being the best player. You are one of the best players, KD and Kyrie. Y'all are. Skill
yeah,
wise, y'all are doing it. But mentally, I'm like, man, forget y'all. You're like the bottom of the barrel. I got bench players who got a better mental than these guys.
nah, that's a fact.
Hey,
Who do you think is more to blame in this situation? Who do you think is more to blame? Kyrie, KD, or the Brooklyn front office?
I think I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna give it to all of them because at the end of the day, it's like it's every single thing that happens because it's like, all right, boom, you can't have KD if you didn't sign Kyrie because we know KD would have never came if Kyrie didn't come. So that's on the
Right.
front office. Like, all right, cool front office. We need KD and KD, you want him. So that's kind of on KD. And then the front office being like, all right, cool. So that's kind of on both of them. But then the whole drama going on is just like we know who Kyrie is.
Yeah.
He was in
And
a
it,
winning situation and still caused problems.
yeah.
Like you won a
Brooklyn,
title,
Boston, Cleveland. I mean, you,
bro.
you you can name it.
It's just a track record of this. So it's like when you brought in KD and he said, "Yo, I need Kyrie with me." You understood the assignment in the front office. Like, man, we got to deal with him mentally. And then the
Right.
fact that y'all just started giving them everything they needed, like, hey, pamper the kids. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah, let's
give a
let's get them
kid
the
and
coach
you
that
just
they want.
nonstop,
Let's get
yeah,
them the players that they want.
get them the
Because DeAndre
players.
Jordan, that signing was, and the amount of money that they gave DeAndre,
Like,
that was, oh my
like
gosh,
DeAndre, you are not that guy. Like
not at
you don't
all,
need
bro.
that
He
much
hasn't
money.
been that guy since the high
Bob City
flying
era.
the Chris Paul and Clipper era. Like that
Yeah,
was
and then
that
that's
was
the
it.
thing about it is he was like that because he had a great point guard.
Yep.
Your job was just to catch lobs. If Blake Griffin
And
couldn't catch it, you got to catch it.
that's right. That's right. And protect the rim. That was it. You don't even got to move
That's
around
it.
that much. Stay close to the paint. That's it. When
Uh-huh.
I ask you to do much, so I honestly, I think all of this. If I'm gonna put the blame on anybody, I put it on KD. I put
He's the
the
spark of the
entire
dot. He's the spark of it.
yeah.
So it's
I
like,
put all of this. But first of all, you chose Brooklyn. You chose Brooklyn.
uh-huh.
You had a plethora of teams that was willing to pick you up, willing that one. Shoot, Golden State didn't want you to leave.
Mm-hmm.
They
And you
wanted to
brought
keep you.
Kyrie.
And had you stayed,
He was
technically,
hurt.
if
The thing about it is he was hurt. It would have still kind of been the same situation. And they could have still been getting those draft picks with KD there.
yeah,
Because
the
he
thing
was hurt.
is,
So he would have never played that year. They would have probably been one draft. They would have probably been one pick away. They probably wouldn't have had
they
Kaminga.
yeah, they would have commit. They would still
That
have
would be it.
Poole and maybe Wiseman, maybe
Nah, yeah, because that was
they
the
would
year
still
that
have
they
Poole
lost.
though.
They would have had
Yeah,
They would have had Poole. They would have had Wiseman. Then now coming into this year, you could have picked up, still had Moody, and
yep,
come on, bro.
yeah.
Now you
I mean, they
basically
would have been in a
traded
great
Kaminga.
situation.
You basically traded Kaminga for KD. Now think of that team.
I mean, if it wasn't for KD leaving, they would have never got Wiggins. And that's not a bad
Yeah.
thing. That's not a
But
knock on
come on,
Wiggins. I don't want to say it was. Yeah,
Wiggins or
I'm not knocking
KD.
Wiggins.
Which one do you want?
No,
Like,
no,
come
and
on.
I agree with you. I much rather KD over Wiggins. But if we're talking about right now, I much rather the Warriors not gut their team, trade Wiggins and everything for KD because
Facts.
you're gonna have to include Poole. You have to. You're gonna have to include
Facts.
either Moody or Poole or
You gotta
Kaminga.
include all of them,
All these young
bro.
guys that are
And
gonna be your future core moving forward.
because the thing is, you got to make the contracts work, so you got to
Yeah.
include them.
Yep.
And then you got to give incentives because it's KD for the draft picks, so you got to give away draft picks. And then it's just like at the end of the day, no matter what, and I understand, playing empowerment, and I'm with it, but I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm probably somebody who's more so on the side of these GMs at this time because I think this player stuff is getting out of control. And I'm like, yo, these GMs, y'all just got to drop y'all nuts and just be like, you know what? Forget you. We're going to do what's best for this organization. I want you guys to come, but I want y'all to understand that you play the game and I do the management stuff over here. Yep. And we can still work on it together. Don't get me wrong. When I have a choice and I think of something, I'm gonna come to you like, yo, you think you could play with this player? You could think you could do this? Yo, who do you want so I can see what I could attract? And can I get something that's at least close enough for it where you could sign off on? And even if you don't sign off on it, and I still think it's the best decision, I'm gonna bring them in and we gonna make it work. Yep. And if it don't work, that's on me, my fault.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to waste your career. Don't get me wrong, and you don't want to waste. You know what I mean? I don't want to get fired. So it's like, they got to still make it work. But right now, it's like the management is right here and the players are right above them as far as even making decisions for their own team because you don't want to get players mad because they're soft.
Yeah.
Like, this free agency thing is crazy. These players is crazy. They just want to do what they want. I want to go to the Lakers. Bro, do you got Lakers money? That's what he should say. He should have turned into a parent. Do you got Lakers money?
I think no, I agree with you that the players they're getting a little bit too big headed, they're getting a little bit too much control. This is not football where draft picks are more luxurious. When it comes to the draft with the NBA, you have 2 rounds, and the top picks, the top 10 picks, are the picks that you want. Anything after 10, maybe even 11 to 12, those are picks that can turn out to be star players. They've have in the past, but they're too far in between. How many late round picks or second round picks really panned out and been and have stepped into being all stars? Being superstars, juggernauts that you absolutely need on your team. Not a lot. You know, I mean, you look at the history of the game and the history of the draft. It's probably only about 3 or 4. You know, so you could literally point them out on one hand. This is not the NFL where you could find a gem in the 6th round, or you can get one of the top picks in the 1st round, and none of those picks are and none of those picks are protected. One, and then two, um, if you tank in the NFL, you tank in the NFL. So if I lose all 17 games, I'm getting the first pick. Period.
Yeah.
Is this NBA? There's a lottery system, so there's no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best record in the NBA and still wind up with the number one pick. It's just based off of odds and the way that the balls roll down on the lottery thing. So in that case, in my opinion, I just feel like the draft picks that you send, they have to also make sense too. So say if I'm sending him to a team that I know, okay, how many years KD honestly has left in this league and how long can they compete? Maybe 3 or 4 years, right? So if I send him to a team, realistically, they could probably compete for the next 3 years, realistically.
Yeah.
After that, we're in full rebuild. I have to let KD go. I'm not going to have the money. I don't have the resources. So those picks that I sent were picks for years down the line. You're not sending next year's picks. You're not sending, you're sending picks that's years out. So usually they'll send like a 2025, 2027. Because if you're going to send 1st rounds, I think it can't be back-to-back years.
It can't be back-to-back. Yeah.
Right. So you're sending what, a 2023, a 2025, a 2027, and a 2028, right? All 1st rounds. Then you could mix and match with the 2nd-round picks, right? Okay, by 2025, you have to figure KD is going to be either in a position where it's his last year where he's going to be able to compete with that team, or the team is like, yo, we got to gut it. We got to rebuild it now, or we got to do something. In that case, those picks don't add up to the dollar signs. So KD is still there in 2025, right? They're still competing. That pick, it could get anywhere into the top 15, but more than likely is going to be in the back end of the top 32, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try for 2027. KD more than likely won't be on that team. Okay, now we're a lottery team. So you got to wait till 2027 after you gutted your team. And then that team thinking about it like, damn, I have to gut this whole team. I'm not going to have picks. And then when he leaves, this is the LeBron effect.
Uh-huh.
This is the LeBron effect. Luckily, Cleveland was able to bounce back.
Yeah, they did some good stuff.
Right, but Miami didn't. It took them years to get the team that they have right now. They gutted their entire roster, their entire picks, and they wasn't able to compete for years. It took free agents and because what pick do they really have that really stand out other than Bam?
Tyler Hero.
But that's recent.
Yeah,
that's
Tyler
recent.
Hero and Duncan
And
Robinson. They've drafted some well. They drafted well to complement the guys that they picked up in free agency.
Right. But that took them years to build that.
Yeah, they did.
Cleveland is just now being able to compete the way that they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So you look at this is exactly the LeBron effect. And I think a lot of GMs and a lot of teams, front offices, they're looking at it like, look what LeBron did. I really
but it's tough. But it's tough because it's like you got to maximize your superstar's potential while he's here, while he's in his prime, while he got a chance, and you want him to see that you actually gonna make an effort to win. Mm-hmm. So it's tough because you want to balance that, but you also want to think about, I want to sustain my future. So like that's the one thing why following the Golden State Warriors trajectory and what they're doing is just like, yo, this is how a team really got to get it. Did they get a luck of the draw by people being hurt and not playing, so they actually got higher draft picks? Yes. But it happens, you know what I mean? But it's just like, yo, just seeing that. And even at the end of the day, their draft picks was some of their best players was just people who was in the 2nd round. Like when you think of like some of the good complimentary players they got, late 1st rounds of 2nd round players. But they picked them up and they developed them well and did what they had to do for these players to get them right. And I'm like, yo, following them, it's like, yo, these are maybe some of the people we should be looking at instead of doing these quick. I could get this player because I got these draft picks. We've been bad for this long. We can get you and your friend here and now attract this much other people and possibly make a way to win. Cool, it sounds good, but it's just like yo. Sometimes like I understand being a bad organization, but you gotta go through those pains and just be like, you know what? We're gonna build through the draft. We're gonna do what we gotta do and make it happen instead of trying to take a shortcut.
I agree. I agree. And it's literally gonna come down to honestly, if I'm a Brooklyn GM, if I'm the Brooklyn GM, I'm not trading him. I'm
Nah,
not trading him.
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but if I do trade him, I want everything. I want everything. You're going to give me as much. I'm robbing you. I'm robbing you blind, and that's how it has to be. If I'm gonna give up, a top
Mm-hmm.
5 player like KD, honestly, healthy, KD is probably top 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm gonna give up one of the top 5 to 10 point guards in the league in Kyrie. No, I want everything. You're not gonna be able to compete. So why trade for
Yeah.
him?
This is like the Knicks. You know what I mean? Because you gotta think about it. The Knicks with the mellow stuff, man. It's just always a situation where y'all trade for somebody who's a big name to get attractions and things like that. Get things started. I get it, but it always just leads to a run of you just being bad and just trying to build. So it's like, yo, just build through
Yeah.
and just get that right star.
Like you said, Golden State has done it the right way in every single way. They're the only team in the league that has been able to compete at a high level, been to the playoffs, been to the finals, more, just as much as LeBron has been in the past 8-9 years, and has done everything the right way. They've homegrown their stars. Curry, Clay, Draymond, they're all homegrown. That's their core, and you take your core and you move forward with your core. Um, even Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was
A
a
draft.
it was
Yep.
well, he was drafted by the Mavs. Was he? No, he was drafted by the
No,
Warriors,
he was
wasn't he?
drafted by the Warriors.
Yeah. So when you look at it like, yeah, that's right. They went and got his contract
I
from
mean,
from Dallas.
yeah.
Yeah. So even when you look at it that way, I mean, they've done everything the right way. This is how you build your organization. You get it, when they got rid of Mark Jackson, I was about to say Mark Jacobs. You got rid of Mark Jackson and you picked up Steve Kerr. You didn't know what kind of coach you was getting with Steve Kerr. But Steve Kerr comes from the coaching tree of Pop. Not to mention he's played with the best players in the world. He's played with Tim Duncan. He's played with Michael Jordan. He's played with Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen. And he was coached by arguably a top 5 coach in Phil Jackson. So you can take it from there. They got their coaching. They've established the culture, and everything is homegrown. What who have they really traded for? Other than Wiggins, but Wiggins was a straight up trade with D'Angelo Russell, and it worked. It just made sense. It was a trade that made sense. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you make smart trades that make sense for both teams, it makes sense for both sides.
Yep.
Because you look at Minnesota now, and especially with the trade that they made for Gobert, they gave up draft capital for them, but they gave up draft capital knowing that we have young guys that are going to be able to compete.
Yeah.
It's not like the
It's not
Lakers
like
or
they
Phoenix,
really, yeah.
where if they
Yeah.
give up draft capital, if they give up guys, they're going to be in a flux, and then it's
Because they don't
who
even
you're
got no
giving up.
young. They ain't got
Yeah,
no young guys to keep the mantle going. They
right.
ain't got no hope in sight after this. There's absolutely no hope in sight because if LeBron just go ahead and sign elsewhere, AD go elsewhere, you have literally no hope in sight.
Nothing. And now you're stuck in a rebuild that could last a decade because one, you don't have the picks, and two, free agents is not going to want to go there because it's just not even if I was to go to your team, I'm only going there because I know you have the cap space, because I
Yep.
know that you're the only team that could pay me what I want to be paid. That's not what you
Mm-hmm.
want. That's not what you want. So I don't know, man. I think that I don't want to stay stuck on this topic, but I just feel like this is probably the worst case scenario for both sides. And I
Yeah,
think going forward, teams are gonna view these buyouts and and these player induced trades
mhm,
very differently.
yeah. And I think, and like you said, you don't want to stay on this topic. I don't think this is just a topic of Brooklyn. Like we're not on the topic of Brooklyn because we went on to other teams. This is just
Yeah,
the culmination, the ending of the process of what we see from what's going on from the start to
right.
now, of where it's culminating this hill that that GMs are climbing up now. Like just letting the players build this hill, and now GMs are climbing up it. Like, damn, this is a tough road ahead.
Yep.
So it's just like that's pretty much what it is. It's just more so of players versus GMs at this point instead of them being conducive together and taking a right road and a right approach to basketball building of an organization.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I do want to move on to the Rudy Gobert because we kept bringing him up. Do you
Big
feel?
Rudy.
Do you feel that that was a good trade? Like all right, no,
Uh,
that's not the question. The question is who won the trade? Utah
uh,
or Minnesota?
hey, look, I'm gonna say Utah because at the end of the day, they want to build something. They want to. They you got a chance to rebuild. Your stars don't get along, and you got a chance to get a package where you get actually 4 picks for the next 8 years or something like
Hmm.
that in the first round on top of what you're gonna get. And it's just like at the end of the day, you're gonna have 2 7-footers now in Minnesota. I understand one's an offensive big and the other one's a defensive big, but now it's like, what are you gonna do? It's not like Carl Anthony Towns can go and guard on the perimeter a bit, and we're seeing, and the thing about it is like, all right, cool. We've seen examples of this happening in Cleveland,
Hmm.
but those players are built like that. When you think
Yeah,
of Gobert and Carl Anthony Towns, is like, all right, Gobert, you could barely get on the perimeter. You control the paint, yeah. But now when they start attacking Cat, what is Cat gonna do?
he can't do anything. He would have to hope that Gobert is behind to shot block or something.
And then he's not a like these 2 7-footers, so they don't rotate like guards. So their mentality isn't going to be able to rotate on the wings
Yeah.
like guards. So even if he hand them off to Gobert, he got to find the next matchup. He got to do, you know what I mean? So it's
Yep.
like they got to really build a system on defense, on communication, and truly understanding what's going on out there. And until I can see a defense really form, and don't get me wrong, Minnesota has been turned themselves around on defense. But guess what? One of your defensive catalysts was Pat Beverly, which you sent away in that trade as well. So
Yep.
now one of your perimeter guards who spoke out there is gone. So you got Gobert back there speaking his French, and you got to adjust to him because you was just dealing with somebody who spoke English, and now you got to deal with somebody who speak French. It's two different languages, and I mean it on the basketball, like as a big man guarded from behind, as opposed to a guard, telling you where to be too. Like it's difference,
Yeah.
and it's just like you got to deal with that. You got to learn too now and make it happen. Like I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do that. And I just want to see. Hopefully they do, because Ant Man always want to talk. He's a defender, and I seen D'Lo. D'Lo been communicating, so hopefully he could keep him going because he been keeping them on point on defense. Don't get me wrong. So hopefully they can make it happen, though. I got faith in them young boys, but I still think Jazz, they got their future stuff going on just in case they got to move Donovan Mitchell and do whatever. They got a
Yeah.
young head coach out there. So it's like, who knows what they're going to do. If Donovan Mitchell is actually on the move halfway through the year and they actually decide to go ahead, somebody come with a good enough package, we'll see. But for now, I got the Jazz winning this trade because I don't see Gobert really pushing your team to a higher level where you're like, oh my god, these guys are
That's
going to
scary.
the
Yeah.
finals. They went from first round to maybe second round,
Yeah.
but I don't see about the finals. Maybe Western Conference. Who knows? Depends on how it shake for them.
Now I agree. I think that Utah's trajectory right now is almost identical to Boston's. Prior to them getting Jalen and Tatum, I think that that trajectory is good for them. Um, they have an option to do what they want as far as with Donovan, because at the end of the day, somebody, if they put him on in block, he is, teams are gonna go after him regardless. And depending on the package that you want back from him, you don't even have to get too crazy with the package. You could take expiring contracts, and you could take a couple of picks, because you already got a boatload of picks for Gobert, and you got expiring contracts. So if that's the trajectory that you want to go, then it's literally, you're in a fork in the road. Which way do you go? Are we gonna build the team around Donovan, move forward? We have the picks, we have the luxury, we have expiring contracts where next year, and the following year we're gonna have cap space. We could put some stars, or we can try to get stars around Donovan, or we trade Donovan, we go into full rebuild, and we go the route Boston and OKC was on. It's still yet to be determined if it worked out, if it's gonna work out for OKC. OKC has, all these first round picks. They got a whole bunch of young guys, but those young guys got to learn how to win. And that just comes with experience, and playing, and winning back to back consecutively. As far as Boston, they're already there. They did enough in this offseason so far. The trade with Indiana, picking up the point guard that they actually need to come off the bench, that could keep the scoring going, as well as get guys into their spots. And
Yeah,
it, they're
picking up.
there. They're there right now. They're
Yeah,
they're,
picking up.
they're going to be a top two team in the league. Well, in the East,
Yeah.
at the very least, they're a top two team in the East, especially with the pickup that they had.
hmm Definitely, because I like Brogdon. I think he's and like I tweeted, I said Brogdon's a basketball player.
Yep.
And when I say that, he's just gonna be somebody who's out there who does the things correctly. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be he's gonna be in the right positions. He's gonna move. He's gonna talk. And they got the president and the vice pres out there with Jalen Brown and Brogdon.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys. They just need to be in office somewhere. I'm telling you, after their careers over in basketball, they gonna be in office somewhere. Um, but yeah, I think that's a fantastic pickup. And then they also got from the Spurs, they bought him out. What's his name? He's a tall guy, tall shooter. He was in Atlanta. Damn, why is his name escaping me? I like him too. He's a shooting
Oh,
guard.
Gallinari.
Gallinari. They picked up
Yeah.
Gallinari. So, that's a little extra floor space. And so when they gotta put a big body out there, hopefully he comes back fine from injury. So I think they did. I think they did well by getting Brogdon, who's gonna solidify them and get them in their right positions and everything.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think like, I mean, we talked about it at the, when we covered the finals. They needed a point guard that could come off the bench and give them not only quality minutes as far as getting guys in their spots, but also scoring. You look
Yeah.
at you look at it from that perspective. I mean, you could rest Marcus Smart, and you could give him a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more you could give him a little bit more uh I guess, room for error, because
Yeah.
you could have Brogdon come in. And then on top of that, you could, because this is something that they really didn't have. Yeah, they trusted Derek White a little bit too much. Derek White,
Mm-hmm.
he was fantastic for them down a stretch, but he's not the point guard that they want. He's not the point guard that they need on the floor in the second unit. Malcolm Brogdon is
Exactly.
gonna be that guy. He's gonna get them in their spots. He understands the basketball, and he's a high IQ, selfless guy. All he wants to do is go out there and win. Whether it's him scoring 25 that night, or whether it's him getting 15 assists, because that's what he's required to do. Like you said, he's a basketball player. He's gonna do what he's required to do to win a game. You look at it from that aspect, the Celtics are probably are the one team in the East that got better by miles, because it wasn't like there was bad.
Yeah, with
Like we
small
talked about at the
movements.
end. Yeah, they needed just enough to move them forward, because if they want to continue to get to the finals, they want to actually win the finals, they needed to make those small tweaks, those small adjustments. Uh
Mm-hmm.
Gallinari was a good pickup, because he's gonna give you good minutes. He's gonna give you like maybe 10 points off the bench. He can stretch the floor, and he could defend. He can defend. I mean, I don't want to say I'm not gonna say he's defensive player of the year, but he could defend. He's a willing defender. He's not the
Uh,
greatest defender, but he's a willing defender. That's what you
I
want.
would go give
You
him
want
that.
you want
But I
guys
think when
that's
you're around a team like that, you will become something like that. But I wouldn't sit there and give him that. But he's been in bad defensive situations, period. So,
yeah. I
but
mean,
I'm listening.
yeah. I mean, you want willing defenders, or especially on a championship team. You want guys that are gonna go out there and be willing to defend. Look, I know that this guy could beat me in a one-on-one matchup, but I just need to hold my ground. I need to stay in front of him long enough so that the help on a rotation gets there in time. Because you still got quality defensive guys. Grant
Yeah.
Williams, Devin White was fantastic defending Curry. It's for stretches. I mean, like
Hmm.
to get out of hand. I mean, Curry was still lighting it up, but like
Yeah.
he made it tough, and that's what you want. You want guys that are gonna make it tough all night long. You
Yeah. I
want to throw
mean,
bodies at people.
yeah, and that's what also works too, because now it's like, all right, cool. Now we got Brogdon. Guess what, Smart? You ain't got to bring the ball up. You ain't got to do this, that, and the third. And we know how that go with stars. People who play more offense starts to play a little less defense. Smart's gonna continue to play defense. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but now it's like when you get tired, and we know Smart be smarting out there. So when you get a little tired, your brain gets a little foggy, and Smart get out there and start doing dumb stuff. Let's keep it a
he
hundred.
does. He does.
So it's like now at least when you expend energy, it's just all on defense that you really have to do it on because you got a guy like Brogdon out there, and with him out there, it's gonna just help Jalen and them get in their spots where they don't have to get turnovers because they don't have to dribble the ball 1,000 times. So it works on that side too. So it's gonna be beneficial for Smart, but we still know Smart's gonna still be a ball handler, but less
He doesn't have to.
pressure,
Yeah, he doesn't have to be the
less
primary.
percentage that he has to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to be the primary. And this is exactly what the Celtics wanted to do anyway. Because when you had Devin White coming off the bench, you had him
Derek.
taking. I'm sorry, Derek. I said Devin. When you had Derek White coming off the bench, you had him kind of. You had a couple of guys, Jalen, Jason, and Derek have handle ball handling responsibilities. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to rely on Jason being a playmaker. You don't have to rely on Tatum being a playmaker. You could keep Smart out there. Smart is a terrific spot up shooter. You don't have to take Smart out. You can literally go small, and decide whether or not you want to keep Robert Williams or what's his face
Al Horford.
Al Horford out there, and you move Smart to the two, and you have Malcolm Brogdon at the one, and
Yeah,
now you have a terrific small lineup. That's if anything, that's kind of Warriors esque basketball. If you want to,
yeah.
kind of compare it to anything, and Malcolm is going to get you in your spots. He's a playmaker, and he has terrific vision. He's going to know which which one to get it to. Am I getting it to Jason or am I getting it to Jalen? Is,
Yeah.
is Smart wide open in the corner? Cool. Oh, Al Horford on a dump down on a pick and pop or a pick and roll? Cool. Malcolm Brogdon just made their team that much better. I think that
Mhm.
as far as you look at the East right now, I think it's still top heavy. I think the Sixers got better as well. They announced that they picked up what's his face from the Mavs, ex Nick, with the funky hair. What's his
I'm gonna tell you right now.
forget his
Who?
name.
Wait. You said the Sixers?
Yeah, the Sixers.
Philly. Daniel House and PJ Tucker.
Nah, there's another one that they picked up too.
I
Shooter,
knew
3
you
and D. He's an ex. He was on the Mavericks. He was on the Knicks. 3 and D. I forget his name, man. Should still be on a Mavericks roster if you're looking it up. Um, but the Sixers they're signing him. He announced it on
Okay.
Twitter or Instagram. I forget which one. Snapchat, one of them. He announced that he was going to the Sixers. So I mean that's a good pickup for them. I think that the Sixers got better.
Oh, you
Um,
mean? Oh, I know who you're talking
yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. With the hair.
He said with the hair. I
Yeah,
can
with the
Reggie
hair.
Bullock.
Yeah, Reggie Bullock. Yeah, so that was a good pickup for them.
Bullock. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
So I
good
mean,
pickup.
they're adding defense, they're adding toughness, and they're adding 3 point, and
Yeah,
that's what you want. That you want to surround Harden and Embiid with quality role players that can shoot the ball and play defense when you need them to.
yeah,
So and then with Harden reworking that deal, it's probably gonna be one of those what they call it a medicine pill contract where it's kind of
mhm,
the first year is low, but then it goes up in numbers. So
yeah.
they'll probably give him a contract like that. And then at this point in Harden's career, he's already made his money.
He made his money.
Yeah, and he still got his endorsements. He got a fashion line. He doesn't really need the contract. So I mean, that was terrific for him. And I think Kyrie needs to take notes. But
Nah, he getting
Harden
37 mil, man. He ain't worried about that.
nah, Harden did good for the Sixers. I think the Sixers got better. Milwaukee got better. This is it's gonna
Milwaukee.
be Milwaukee got better. Um, I think Miami lost a couple of good pieces, but I still think that they have enough to compete. Victor Oladipo came back on a 1 year deal. I still think they have enough to compete. Um, the East is just top heavy, and then you look at the young teams. I think that the Hornets losing. Oh my gosh, the Hornets losing Bridges is going to be a blow.
Yeah, that's a
That's going to
huge
be a blow.
blow, man. I mean, the league losing him, but go ahead. The Hornets.
But I think
That's
Atlanta got
crazy.
better. The Orlando got better. The Bulls got better. I mean, you look at all these teams, and then the Bulls are
Yeah,
gonna come back healthy. The Bulls are gonna be healthy. Starting the year, they just got to finish the year healthy. And not rely so much on DeRozan.
yeah.
I need
What
Lonzo to step up.
we talk about all these good teams, man. I gotta say, I just want to bring this out, bro, because we gotta talk about some of the bad teams. Fuck it. You know about the good teams. We're gonna talk about Detroit. We're gonna talk about all
I
that.
don't think Detroit is a bad team, bro. I
No, no,
don't.
I'm not
I
talking. I'm
don't. I
talking about.
think.
I'm talking. No, no, no. I'm saying them as in a good category. We're gonna talk
Okay.
about them
Okay.
as being a good category. I'm just gonna go down the list of who was good. Used to they did their thing this whole season. Whatever. We talk about the good. But what about the bad? Because I can't lie. Can we not? Can we talk about the Dallas Mavericks? Like,
Oh, Mavericks. I think they're in a
because
flux. It's
the thing is,
hard.
they had a great signing with Wood. I'm like, all right, cool. I can see where he could mesh in and mix in with that team. And then it's like you just keep losing defenders. You lose another ball handler. It's just like now Luca gotta be that guy for real, for real. He's that guy, but it's just like, what else y'all gonna do? Because y'all just lost Brunson. Now y'all gotta stick with Dinwiddie, who Dinwiddie was sure he ain't do what Brunson did, and he had his opportunity to. Um, you just lost another defender. So now only Dorian Finney Smith is the realest defender that I could just think of on your team or his perimeter. What are
Right.
you gonna do when he's out? Like, I don't know what are they planning on doing now, because they got to pick up another. And the thing is, the Bulls just picked up Dragic, which was one of the people who was expected to go to the Mavs, and they missed out on that. So it's like now you got to pick up another ball handler and another defender. And where
Yeah.
you gonna find out that's left?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you look at the way the Mavs are constructed. Last year I think was their window of opportunity. This year they've taken a step back. I mean, you look at them, what there was like a 4 seed, 5 seed. They might be in the play-in this year. You're asking Luca to carry the load, and not saying that Luca can't, but it's an 82 game season, and you're asking somebody to carry the load for 82 games, and then what, you have scheduled off days, scheduled rest days. So what, that may be like 72 games, right? So 72 games, Luca is guaranteed to get you at least 40 wins. If you want to get the 50 wins, because you need 50 wins in order to get to the top seeds in the West.
Yeah.
At the very least, you need 50 wins. 40 is not going to cut it. 40 is going to get you a 7, 8, play in. You're in the play in. 40 wins. You want 50 wins, you need somebody that's going to be able to complement Luca. And I don't even think another ball handler. I would say another scorer. You look at somebody like Zach LaVine. If you was able to prize Zach LaVine from Chicago, Zach LaVine would have been a perfect pairing with Luka. Um,
Yeah.
Bradley Beal would have been a perfect pairing with Luka. You need somebody that's it's they're gonna have to come out here and also shoulder the offensive load. There's no second guy in Dallas. It's just Luka. Your second guy just signed with the Knicks. So and your third guy is going to Philadelphia. So I don't know. Unless they could make a big splash, they could get a trade. I mean, I wouldn't even. I would look into Luca. I mean, Luca. I would look into Spider. Let's see what we could get for Spider. Let's see if Utah's willing to trade him to Dallas. That would be perfect pairing because
Yeah.
he's undersized. You're not asking him to run around with the point guards, but if you have to, you have to. But you could hide him in their defense. I think Spider would be the perfect pickup for Dallas. But Dallas got to make that trade, and I don't know what they're doing. They're probably one of the most unpredictable teams when it comes to free agency and trades because they're
Yeah. Any
it's
transaction.
yeah,
We
you
ain't see
don't
Porzingis happening. We ain't see nothing
yeah,
happening for them, and
they're
they
very
happen.
unpredictable. I think Cuban delves into the basketball side too much. I know they have Rick Carlisle's in the front office now, isn't he?
Oh, I'm not even 100% sure. I ain't even gonna lie to you about that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a terrific coach in Jason Kidd, but Jason Kidd is only going to coach you so far. Yeah, he's only there because of Luca. At the end of the day, you need people that's gonna be around Luca that's gonna help shoulder the load, and you can't rely on the guy that's coming off the bench. You don't even have a six man. I would see what I could get for Jordan Clarkson and Spider right now. Right now, whatever picks you got, trade them. Get you Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson right now, while you still can. While Utah is still listening to trades.
I mean, what do you think about? Because I know I still feel like they still need somebody else, but Tim Hardaway Jr. is actually going to be coming back. He should be back this year.
Yeah, but
Do you
what kind
think?
of player are
Do
you
you
gonna
think
get? You know what I'm
that's
saying?
exactly
Like,
what I'm thinking? Because
yeah,
in my mind, like I said, he's more of we could spot up. He could attack off the dribble a bit, but he's not somebody who can handle the rock as far as getting the offense situated when Doncic isn't that. So that's really what I think they need because Tim Hardaway, he's gonna give you some buckets, but everything's gonna come predicated off of Luca because of
yep,
that. So it's
yeah. I just think that Dallas just got worse, man. And I mean, you hate to see it. I mean, I don't want Luca to waste his years in Dallas. I really don't. But that's literally what it's gonna look like. Dallas is not gonna be able to compete with their current roster, and they're too unpredictable to really not even see what they would do, but understand what they would do. You just don't know. I did not see the Porzingis trade coming. I thought that Porzingis was a perfect compliment for what they want to do with Luca. I mean, he's a perfect compliment for what he was doing with Bill. I
yeah,
mean, you look at what he averaged with Bill and his usage with Bill on the floor. I mean, Porzingis was perfect, but I don't know, man. I digress. I think that when it comes to it, I mean, it's still too early in free agency.
yeah, I think
There's
so
going to be
too. We
more
gotta see
trades
what
that's going
they
to
do.
happen, more free agents to be picked up, but I can't trust Dallas. I just can't.
Yeah,
But anyway, we get into the end of our episode.
yes,
We will
sir.
be back next week. Hopefully, we'll get to figure out exactly what Brooklyn is doing, or going to do. Utah, Dallas. I mean, even New York. We'll see exactly how everything pans out. Summer League starts this weekend, so shout out to the young guys. Go out and ball. Let them
Um,
know who you are.
my boy Keegan Murray was showing him that he was drafted number 4 for a reason. I see
That's
him.
a fact. Yeah, nah, he was going off. He was getting buckets. He was
Yeah,
getting buckets. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully everything goes smoothly in free agency. I hope nothing like surprises me. I hope we don't have to come
I
on
hope
like
they do.
I mean, I do, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to I don't want to have to come on the show earlier than I want to because we gotta talk about some craziness that just happened. You know, let us chill for a week, man. We got stuff to do this weekend.
Imagine Kevin Durant got traded to Sacramento.
Right? That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. That is some Sacramento thing for them to do too. But yeah, I think it's out, man.
All right, man. Y'all already know the vibes. Y'all tuned into the best podcast out there, but you already know, man.